Manchester United make the FA Cup final. It will be the first ever Manchester derby in an FA Cup final. And it was a nail-biting and an exhilarating, no goals, but still for me a very good game of football today between a brilliant Brighton side who I do have a real sense of a sorrow for them. You know, Solly Marsh kicking over there, as you can see it, see there right at the end after what was another brilliant penalty shootout. And you sort of look at it and think to yourself, is it going to be Man United's day? Only one win in the previous 8 penalty shootouts. Brighton, who had some wonderful spells in that game, were they going to come through victorious? But Man United showed personality. Man United held their nerve in large parts of this game that could have gone wrong for us. We tried playing on the transition today, and I don't really think it worked as well as Erik Ten Hag wanted it to, with Christian Eriksen having a really poor game in the middle, Casemiro still being off the pace, Martial throwing a stinker, and Rashford, I have to say, up until his penalty, and one good pass for a chance in the first half, having a really poor game. We just weren't good enough when we had our opportunities. Brighton, on the other hand, played and moved the ball brilliantly well. However, their lack of clinical edge in front of goal really cost them today. And Brighton have kind of, in recent times, have sort of put the not scoring goals behind them a little bit. But Man United did do well to stop them. And every time they did have half a chance, either a good last-ditch tackle or a brilliant save from David De Gea. And I thought over the course of 90 minutes, I felt 0-0 was fair. I didn't think Brighton had done enough to deserve it over Man United. I didn't think Man United had done enough to say that we deserve to win. And it went down to penalties. And then you're just essentially in a gamble. You're essentially in a gamble from that point of view. And Manchester United came out on top. There's no doubt about it. And I'm proud of the guys because I'm proud of the boys tonight because it was an absolute horror show in Sevilla. And Man United have not been in good form now for a good number of weeks. Players that we rely on, the likes of Casemiro, have been dropping awful performances. Rashford's in a bad spout of form with the injury that he had. Martial's not come back and really hit the ground in the way in which that we wanted him to. And of course, we've got our defensive issues with our main 2 centre-backs being out. So I was proud that we got through this. A game that, when I was live before this match kicked off after Newcastle-Tottenham, most of the comments were saying Brighton win, Brighton win, Brighton win. I did a poll earlier on this week, 10,000 votes, 72% said Brighton win. So I knew Man United were up against it. Everybody was predicting we would lose. A lot of people thought we wouldn't be able to win. And I was nervous myself. I had a real horrible feeling about this game, especially when it went to penalties. But we showed character. We showed bottle. Especially Victor Lindelof there at the end because they missed. Solly March goes over and you think, can we hold our nerve? Can we hold our nerve, get over the line, get ourselves to that final? Hopefully, listen, 3rd of June, I think the game is. Hopefully by then we can find a bit more form. We can feel more confident going into that game. Top 4's looking a lot more likely after Spurs drop points today. But we're there, and that's the most important thing. We're there in that final up against Manchester City with 1, an opportunity to stop this goddamn treble, and 2, for our manager to win 2 domestic trophies in his first season as a manager in England and secure top 4, which would be an astounding season for his first year. There's still a lot of room and a lot of areas for Manchester United to improve. There's still a lot of things that Man United have got to do, in my view, to get to another level in the summer. But year 1, to end up in that circumstance, to end up with 2 trophies potentially, it would be an absolutely phenomenal feat. It really, really would. And as I say, I'm proud of the boys today. Nervous start. Brighton were out there excellent. But Man United, for me, had the better of both the sort of second halves of each half. Both teams could have scored. Both goalies made great saves. Brilliant semi-final indeed. Now, I do want to point out a few things, though. I do feel the referee cooked Man United a little bit today. Genuinely felt he cooked us. There was a shirt pull on AWB by Estepinian, not booked. There was a clear late tackle from Caicedo, who, by the way, I'll get onto in a minute as my man of the match, on the low, not booked. Matoma already booked. Late on David De Gea, should have been sent off, and he wasn't. And for me, I know it's a semi-final, and I know that you want to try and keep You want to do your best to keep 11v11. You want to do your best to keep the game flowing, but you still have to follow the rules. And for me, the referee today, in his pursuit, by the way, of trying to keep the game flowing, keep 11 men on the pitch, he really hurt Man United. And I'll tell you why. If Estepinia's booked at 60 minutes in the game, it's easier for our attackers against him on the counter. If Caicedo's booked, he can't make some of those brilliant tackles that he makes at the risk of giving away a foul and maybe a second yellow. And Matoma, legitimately, and someone said, should Matoma have been sent off? He's booked. He was late on David De Gea, catches him on the shin. It's a yellow card. And the second thing I want to moan about today is Danny Murphy. I have to say, listening to his commentary, I know that he doesn't want Man United to win. He's a Liverpool man. I get it. But you're working for the BBC, British taxpayers, and the government, on behalf of us taxpayers, pays you your salary to be there. And about 4 or 5 times in the game, I heard him go, oh, like unlucky to something for Brighton. And when Man United did something good, you could hear he was disappointed that it came off. Even in the penalty shootout, one of the great penalties from, I think it was Dunk, that he put in the top corner, he applauded it. Then when we did one, the goalie nearly got a hand to, he's like, oh, nearly saved. I don't like that bias. I don't want that bias from my commentators because you're trying to enjoy the game. I want to shout that out because it was absolutely horrendous from Danny Murphy today, there's no doubt. But yeah, the referee for me, really cooked Man United today and made it a more difficult game than it needed to be. Both Caicedo and Estepina should have been booked. Matoma, lucky in my opinion, to stay on the football pitch. Although it was very late in the game, it would have given Man United a little bit of a numerical advantage. But as I say, fair, absolutely fair result in terms of 90 minutes. I don't think anybody would deny that. Maybe some people in the comment section see it a little bit differently, but Man United will be in that final in a few weeks' time. And I could tell you, after what happened on Thursday, I'm very, very happy indeed. I'm very, very happy indeed. A lot of people are telling me to shut up about the refereeing. Again, I'll make you a little deal. If you can come on and tell me why they weren't yellow cards and shut me down, I'll buy you any gift you want. I'll give you any prize you want. PlayStation 5, new car, anything you want, the Football Terrace will give to you. If you can tell me why Caicedo shouldn't have been booked and why Estepina shouldn't have been booked, for pulling on the man's shirt. If you can give me a legitimate reason, I swear to you, I promise you, I will turn around and change my mind on this. I absolutely kid you not on that one. I also want to say a big thank you to everyone who's super chatted and hit the like button so far. We're not going to forget that. I've got my panel coming out very, very soon indeed for you as well. But make sure like buttons are hit. Make sure you're subscribing. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they've got to say on the show today. So I'm just trying to update the thumbnail. Been waiting for all the pictures to come through from Getty Images, and they've honestly been taking an eternity. I also want to say as well, I'm really happy tonight for Jadon Sancho. I want to say as to why. I went into him hard the other night, and everything I said about him as an individual at the club, that I think he was weak on the night. I think that his time at the club is coming to an end. I've got to give him credit tonight. He came on and played well. Brilliant in the penalty shootout. Excellent penalty from him. Same as Rashford. Thought Rashford had a really poor game tonight. Nowhere near the standard I would expect. But took his penalty well. And the reason I single out Rashford and Sancho is because the last time those two were in a penalty shootout, we know what happened and we knew what transpired on that. And for me, I want to say well done and congratulations to both those young men for stepping up tonight. Putting those demons behind them and putting the ball into the back of the net. Nabil here says it's clear that Maguire costing United's team. Victor was inch perfect. Our back four was really great. Ref was a disgrace. Rashford was invisible. I agree with everything you've said there. And I want to say Victor Lindelof tonight, they were great. And I'm not someone that likes to boil things down to singularities all the time. But when Harry Maguire's on the football pitch, Manchester United are a worse team. Manchester United are a worse team in every single which way. And I still think there was a lot of jitters and shakes from us tonight. Us going long, David De Gea going long. I know we want him to do that, but it stops you from being able to build from the back and build pressure because you give possession away more. But Lindelof was excellent tonight. Sure, I thought I had another great game at centre-back. Maybe that's a new position for him. I don't know, because I actually prefer him at centre-back than I do when he's playing at left-back, if I'm being absolutely honest with you. Terry Wan-Bissaka pocketed Matoma. He did. Wan-Bissaka, I I knew why he came off because the game was going on. But yeah, another great game from him today, no doubt. What does this say? Something Chan changed my opinion on him if he stops United. Oh, Erik Ten Hag can change my opinion if he stops City. That's on you, my friend. Debbie says, Terry, do you realize that you should have won the game? You better win your next one because I think City are going to destroy you. Look, City are the favourites in that final. Man United are the underdogs. We know they're the best team in the country right now. They're the favourites. They've got a great chance of doing a treble. I'm going to worry about that game more when I get there, but I hear you. Joshua Jack here says, come rivals, don't want to hear it's Brighton when you clowns said they would cook us. Proud of the boys. Excellent penalties from Iceman. And like you said, Terry, we have it in our hands now to stop the treble. And we do, and we have to focus upon that. And you've seen the media in the last 2 days talk about the treble, talk about how it's going to be the greatest achievement ever in English football, putting it above Man United's treble now with ease. That's all going to come. So we have to stop it as a club, but we have to be part of, a number of teams that stop it. But this part is in our control. David here says it's like a weekend football. Sorry, it's like on weekend football, you get the guy who runs a line all season who's crap, and you give him the game rarely. You notice the drop off of the team. I hear you when it comes to Maguire there. De Gea is the reason you won. Schmeichel picked him as man of the match. Don't know how he gets so much stick from United fans. He wins you games. Let me explain what happens with De Gea. Because he went long every time today, there was no worry of a mistake. The problem is when you go long, is that your opponents are able to recycle the ball and attack you again straight away. You don't get the opportunity to build up as much out the back. Brighton are a high-pressing team, so we couldn't play out from the back tonight. What Man United need is a goalie that can save us in games, because he pulled off 3 brilliant saves tonight. 3 brilliant saves this afternoon. We need that, but we also need someone that can play out from the back. For me, this is a weird argument from the perspective of and point of view of we just want someone that can save like De Gea and play out from the back like Ederson or Alisson. That's what we need. We need a modern-day goalkeeper. I don't think it's about disrespecting him or anything like that. These games needs to come with some. These games need to come with some form of instructions. I'm still gathering myself. I hear you, mate. And I'm trying to set up a stream and get thumbnails ready. And I have no idea of the titles. I have no idea of what thumbnail I'm going to use. It's crazy. Not just a penalty. Lindelof was colossal today. Yeah, Lindelof was great today. He was phenomenal. Sure was everybody. All our defensive line were, and goalkeeper. They were all absolutely brilliant. If our midfield played as well, it would have been a very different game. It really would have done. Someone here says Alisson's awful playing out from the back. All goalies make mistakes, but I don't think he is. Here we go. The likelihood is City will win the final. That's a given, but I'd rather it be us than another club try and stop them from the treble in the final. Yeah, look, I'd rather be in the final than not in the final. I mean, that makes perfect sense to me, with no shadow of a doubt. Before I bring my panel out, I also want to shout out a certain player, Moises Caicedo. Buy him now. Buy him now. Genuinely buy him. He's got to be bought. Man United have got to go out and buy him. Because this guy is just out of this world. I saw a guy tweet, some Man City fan, I don't know who he is, tweeted during the game that he wasn't playing well. And I just thought to myself, what an idiotic comment to make. I don't know whether it was attention seeking or, being a bit of a troll. I wasn't particularly sure myself. But from my perspective, I looked at it and just thought to myself, you know what? This is a serious player. This is an individual that I think can go to very, very high levels indeed. I think this is an individual that you put him in that Man United midfield next year, we go to another level in terms of maintaining possession. His ability to play with his facing his own goal and facing his opponents is top class. It's just quality. So listen, I want to. Look, as a United fan, I'm happy. He probably deserved to be on the winning team today with that performance. And on a real level, if we could do transfers in the middle of games, I'll drop £100 million on him now to make him a Man United player because he's out. He's absolutely out of this world. How you doing, Prime? I hope you're good, my friend. He says, glory, glory, Man United there. Terry, it's Man City. I don't know what that means. I have no idea what you mean by that. Tell me what you mean, please. Martinez, Varane for the final. Martinez won't be back. Very unlikely. The final's in 5 weeks. Be very unlikely. Varane could be back for that final. Sam here says, love this channel, Terry. Used to watch United Stand, but they to mainstream. They're mainstream if you get me. You're the real deal. Keep it up. Listen, United Stand, amazing channel. Not going to say anything negative about them at all with what they're doing. Thank you very much for the compliment, though. I really do appreciate that, my friend. Right, I'm bringing out man like Canadian Cam. Staffy's with us as well. And guess what, people? Panel-wise, I'm talking, not you guys. By the way, I will not be responding to trolls anymore. I made this point the other day. And what you say, I used to enjoy my to and throw, but people recently start clipping me up and mischaracterizing what I'm saying, and I'm not going to let that happen again. So, like when I call you guys out and call you things, I don't know how it's been twisted into. I'm calling general people in the general world that, but I can't respond anymore because people ruin it. Do you know what I'm saying? But keep trolling. I do enjoy it. I do laugh. I love the trolling. I love the banter. I love it when you come at me. And yes, Prime, you're right. I've already called out Danny Murphy. Danny Murphy, do you know what it is? I know you've challenged me a lot on Gary Neville this year because you're like, Terry, he's a United guy. Same thing with Danny Murphy today. I didn't like the bias. Professional pundits that we pay through our subscriptions or tax, or whatever it is, I want to hear complete neutral opinions. When I'm hearing a man cheer things Brighton are doing and go, oh, every time Man United do something good, I got a problem with that. Legit got a problem with it. It's ridiculous. Absolutely. And the fact that he didn't even mention McTominay in the second yellow card as pundits, wrong for me. I'm wet. See, this is, I want to respond. I am going to respond to you. You say like, I'm wet. Just like I'll make your mum. There's nothing wrong with that. You clip that up, though. Someone like, oh, Terry just said this about a football player's mum. No, I didn't. But there we go. Call me something, Terry. I'll pay your mortgage for a whole year if you can make me care. Do you know why I always do that with the money stuff? And it's not a flex. It's basically saying, if you really, this is the way I view it. If you really believe the nonsense you were writing, you'd come on and show your face on camera and try and win a car or your mortgage to be paid. But you know you don't really believe it. So you're like, I can't even do it because it will school me. That's where it comes down to. Do you know what I mean? But there we go. There we go. There we go. Look, hit the like and the share button. I didn't mean to violate him. He just come and call me wet. Do you know what I mean? But again, we're not going to go back into what I was talking about before. But I was talking. This is what happens. Context. I read things you guys say and I respond to it. Do you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So when you guys turn around and say things like X and his mates will bash you up and beat you up, I'll be like, all right, of course I won't. Or I'll respond to it. That's not a statement from me. It's a response to your point. But I appreciate the comments. I appreciate all the love and the support. Seemed really bad refereeing, Terry. Somehow Matoma stays on the pitch. Not sure how Caicedo escaped with no yellow. Yeah, I agree with that completely. I completely and utterly agree with you on that. 110%. Listen, viewers, hit the like and the share button. Panel time now. Let's do it. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome. Yeah, I'm about to say, guys, no rival panelists turned up today. They were all here Thursday, but none here today. I don't know where Igal's at. Igal ain't arrived for a while. But there we go. Listen, Cam, big win for us today. Talk to me.
What's going on, man? Whew. Honestly, straight up, the fact that there wasn't much between the two teams says kind of a lot about where we are. Big up to Brighton. I mean, it was a really good game. But we need some depth. Like at no point when it started getting to that 90th minute, I'm like, we're gonna be in trouble. Even though we did look the better side in the extra time, because Brighton also doesn't have depth. I do think we truly need to figure out this summer, like who's coming in and who's going out, and it's got to be a couple players. Like you said, go shopping at Brighton. I'll take 3 of those players. Caicedo, bring Matoma, Estupiñán, bring me any of those guys. They all look like they could play well for a top 6 side. I'm not going to say they should start for a top 6 side, because we all see what happens when some players move to top 6 sides and they don't always kick on. But outside of that, it was a good game. Fair play to Anthony. A lot of people hate on Anthony, and Anthony Odi reminds me of right now, kind of Rashford in his early days. He is still making some poor mistakes, but he was kind of the most threatening for me all game. He was the one that was getting into space. He was the one that one sprint that he had where he just breezed by, and Jesus, Martial's lost all his pace, because Martial should have been right there with him pace for pace. He's running with the ball, and he outsprinted Martial, sent the ball across. Martial's nowhere to be found, and Martial's giving him a look, and he's like, man, I put it in the only place that you should have been. He should have just taken that shot straight up. And then when he made the wrong mistake and took the shot instead of going to Bruno. But outside of that, like, he was in the most dangerous positions, I think, today. I really enjoyed I think Cass had a pretty decent game again, outside of the yellow. You nailed it on the refs, so I'm not going to go in too hard on the refs, but the refs were bad. The ref was bad. The ref was bad. Like, it's not that he was bad in the sense that our yellows weren't yellows, because they were. Our yellows were 100% yellows. Let's keep it 100. They were yellows. But when I saw AWBs go on, and I'm like, okay, cool, fair. Keep you know, we had advantage. You have to go back and give that yellow later, because if you don't, now you're basically telling Brighton that they can get away with what they continue to get away with. And the Matoma one, okay, you probably don't want to send him off, but you're late, 2-footed challenge on a keeper. You've got to say, like, for me, it's those are the mistakes that you can't make as a ref. Outside of that, though, man, it was we got to be fair to the players who were good and the players who were bad. Rashford didn't have a great game. Lindelof, I think, the only center back outside of the two we have starting that should stay at the club. I love Luke Shaw as a backup center back. We cannot see Maguire play in the final. I'm sorry. Like, there was one pass that De Gea made. It was a poor pass. Shaw let it run. If he had turned, like Maguire probably would have, he would have turned into a player. It would have gone straight to the Brighton player, and it would have been a goal. Good defenders know how to receive the ball and keep their keeper out of trouble as well. That's something people need to keep in mind. Like, everybody talks about De Gea. Yes, he has his problems, and I'm never going to say he's perfect, but Maguire's a much bigger problem for our team. When I think about the first line of who's going to receive the ball, normally it's Martinez. When Shaw's playing, it's him. We know De Gea can't play the perfect pass all the time, so you need a really good defender who can take it from him and make the right decision. And today we saw a lot of that from Shaw too. So a couple good performances, but realistically, we need more. We need more. We're not currently good enough from what I saw today. Like, we're just not good enough to say we'll challenge next year, and that's where we need to be. But great game. I mean, I love the game. It was a fantastic. Like, when I tell my friends, like, when they're like, "Oh, you watch football and it goes 0-0," I'm like, you can watch a great 0-0 game. And today was a fun game.
Yeah, I definitely think a great 0-0. Staffy, how about from your point of view today? Because, you know, it was really an interesting game. There was ebb and flow for both teams, a lack of clinical edge, good saves, some good defensive displays. Like, and at the end of the day, United kept their nerve. They showed character and personality and got the job done.
I mean, like I said, we would. I've been beating the same drum for over a week since we lost Lissandro in that Sevilla game. I'm the only one who didn't panic and say, "Oh my God, if Sevilla scored 3 against us, what's Brighton gonna do?" I told you what we're gonna do against Brighton. I told you I don't care that we lost 3-0 to Sevilla in Spain without Bruno, with Maguire playing, with no Luke Shaw instead. And I'm the only one who stayed consistent with that. I had to sit here on a stream yesterday with Tom Little telling me, "Oh, you know, we're going to take top 4 from you guys because you guys are going to play Maguire every game." No, the fuck we're not. I already said the minute Luke Shaw is back, he's going back to that center back position right next to Lindelof, and we're going to be good. And I explained why I'm not worried about this game. I said we're going to have a good partnership between Lindelof and Shaw, which Lindelof has been amazing already for about 3 games right now. Even that loss to Sevilla really wasn't his fault. And you put on Luke Shaw next to him for 90 minutes, no more Maguire, no more nerves, no more giving the ball away in easy and silly positions. The confidence is there. You bring in Bruno in the team. He didn't really have a good game, but you still brought in Bruno, and you see what happens. My coach was never going to get out-coached today by De Zerbi. He had a great game, don't get me wrong, but his team is way more healthy and way more in a better form than us. And my coach still did not lose. My manager came out there. He did not attack that well. Yeah, let's be honest. It was a very close game. But formation-wise and the way the team was structured, we did not let them have a sniff. It was only that one chance, honestly, from Mitoma when Bissaka went off, and I kind of expected that. I was like, he's gonna get at least one chance, because Bissaka kept them on lock all game. Mo, you were on the stream yesterday, and I explained exactly what's gonna happen. I was like, I'm not scared because they don't have a clinical number 9. And everyone's like, oh, but you don't have your best center back partnership. I don't care. They don't have a good striker. Their goals come from everywhere else. And everywhere else, we kept them quiet. Fred came on and suffocated these guys in their half. And that was the best change of the game. Structurally, how the team was displayed today is the reason why we didn't lose. The character at the end, which I feel like Ten Hag is the one that installed that into this team. He's the reason we did not concede today and we did not bottle these penalties, because we know any other year these guys would have been going in with nerves thinking we're going to lose. Sancho puts in a perfect penalty. Rashford puts in a perfect penalty. Even Dalot puts in a perfect penalty. Overall, I cannot complain. It's not the best game, as I said, attacking-wise, but I'm just happy to sit here and be like, I'm the only one who did not panic. 4-0, people told me we're going to lose 4. Gabby Bonner saying we're going to get turned over by Brighton. Who's going to get turned over? Nah, I'm not dealing with this.
Mate, I hear you on that. Again, I was the same. I kept my powder dry all weekend. I didn't banter Spurs too much today. I didn't go in on Arsenal too much on Friday, other than saying what I had to, because I didn't want to upset the most important people probably in football right now. That's the football gods. And just for all those triggered people out there, because I've had a few people DM me going, I think it's really disrespectful to like my religion. I'm talking about tempting fate. I'm not talking about actual gods.
Did you see Mo's face? He knows that's bullshit, because we're both religious people.
We're not going to talk about these people.
It's really pointless, bro.
I know, but I just calling out these weird trolls. I like, Terry, I can't believe you say those things. I'm like, it's really not that deep. But the football gods are real, and I didn't want to upset them this week. I really didn't want to upset them this week. I didn't want to, I didn't want to do anything this weekend. I knew we could do it, but I also knew it was going to be hard because of what happened on Thursday. This team's confidence in the last couple of months has been really low. We've lost our main 2 centre backs. Rashford isn't in form. Casemiro's is off the pace. We don't ever recognise number 9, and we took that beating. I knew we weren't going to play out from the back. The pressure was on us. As I said by Danny Murphy, just commentating on this for national TV, you could tell that there was a feeling of everyone wanted us to lose. To show the personality and character to get through that is great. And look, it was one of those games where I thought Bruno had a brilliant game today up until the injury. And I think from the injury onwards, he was hurt. And this was one of the biggest things that Danny Murphy did that upset me. When he was taken off, he was like, oh, it looks like he's unhappy to be coming off. Well, he should have been carrying on doing his defensive work and not moaning at everyone. I'm like, I didn't see him once today on the cameras moan at any of his own players. And he came off because his ankle was injured, but he played for 90 plus minutes with an injury. And Danny Murphy's having a go at him for not doing his defensive work. For me, that set the tone of what the most people in this country wanted to see today was United defeat. So for us to show the personality, the character to get through it, I'm proud. And I'm also proud that even players that had bad games, Casemiro, I actually wasn't that impressed with him until Brighton fell off a little bit. Rashford, as an example, they stepped up in the penalty shootout and didn't let that get in their head. Because for me, I was thinking, I honestly thought Rashford was going to miss. And I'm so proud of that man he did. And I just tweeted again saying I'm really happy for both him and Sancho. Probably especially Sancho, because Sancho's Rashford's had a lot of applaud in the last year, where Sancho really hasn't, because he's not been very good. I was happy for both of them to score in this penalty shootout. Hopefully some demons there put to bed.
Can I say one thing real quickly?
Before
Staffy made a good point. He was saying our manager kept us level. The guy who everybody was hating on, Steve McLaren, and everybody's like, oh, why are you bringing him back? Before the shootout, Ten Hag looked at him and he looked at all the players. He's like, eyes on Steve. Everybody listens to him. And he took a step back. And I was really impressed with that, because
he was talking to him in a huddle. If you
saw it was in that moment, he was like, it's now your job. This is your area of expertise. Get it right. And he's like, you're going first. And he got them all. And it was, for me, that moment, I just really enjoyed seeing, because we always give Erik Ten Hag the plaudits, but Steve was a big part of that penalty shootout. He had a big part in the conversation and getting everybody set up and picking the right guys, because having Cass go first for me was that was important, because you need somebody who's been there before, who's not going to panic, and he's going to calm everybody down, because the numbers are 70% of the time. If you go second, you lose. That's
what I thought too. Yeah.
So. No, I totally agree. And Neeks here says Sancho needed that pen. Well, and he did. And you all know me. I'm fair. I might have an opinion on a player. I'm talking their professional side here, and I don't necessarily think that he is going to make it at Man United. But I was happy for him. Like at the end of the day, he's a Man United. One thing I'll never do is like want one of my players to fail to go, see, I told you I was right about. By the way, Weghorst as well. He doesn't have the demons, I think, that Sancho and Rashford do because of the Euros. But he's so not clinical. And when he stepped up for that penalty, I thought, if he misses this, he's done it. Like, he's done it United anyway. I don't think we'll re-sign him. But I just thought the last 2 months for him are going to be hell because people are just going to switch on him. I'm going to do some super chats. I don't want to speak to Mo. Thank you, Spice, for joining us on the show as well today.
No problem.
This super chat here says, from Nabil, says, Matoma's first yellow was almost the same tackle as Casemiro got a red for against Southampton. There is no consistencies from the refs. I don't think it was quite as bad. I think it was a yellow, but he should have been sent off Matoma for me for the second, the challenge on the goal.
Terry, if it's Casemiro making these tackles, he's getting a red.
He's gone.
It's just by the name. When you look at the name on the shirt, oh, it's Casemiro, red. It's 100%. Matoma. He's a nice guy, yellow.
100%. Terry, so who is having a better seat? We'll come back to that question in a minute. Please get me on the panel. What I'll do, I will share the link if anybody wants to join and have their say today. I'm going to share it now in the comment section. You'll see it come from the Football Terrace, so go and check that out. Paul says, why are you trying to create the underdog story? Obviously, rivals were winding you up by saying Brighton were favourites. You're Man United. You weren't underdogs.
Said you were underdogs.
I mean, for me, we're not creating the narrative. Rivals did by saying we were going to lose. Most of us, like me, I said we should win. We're the favourites. So I'm just saying the pressure for us to win was higher because everyone was hoping we'd lose. What rivals can't have is it both ways. I don't think rivals can have it both ways. Even when Bruno was not on the pitch, he was actively talking to the players. Then we, Mr. I don't want to prove myself, Bruno, and will still be our captain. But Bruno was good today. He was. And I saw people kicking off at him saying, oh, we're no better with or without him. But I was waiting for those tweets if we weren't great today. But look, Bruno put in a brilliant captain's performance. Mo's here with us. How you doing, Mo?
I'm all right. Kind of didn't enjoy the game. It was a terrible game.
Did you not enjoy it?
No, I didn't. But to be honest, I didn't enjoy the game. I didn't. The chances, both teams. Listen, the analysis of the game tactically is that there was an outstanding player other than I think Wan-Bissaka to shut down Mitoma that much is brilliant. To be honest, he contained the guard really well. This is. Yeah, like I can't believe that I'm saying this about Wan-Bissaka, but he was absolutely great. And even going forward sometimes, he was good. He wasn't bad at all. He picked his right moments to go up. And he's the one who allowed Anthony to have all that space because he gave Anthony the confidence that I can hold this guy one-on-one. You don't need to come back and double on him. I have this guy. You go and do your thing. And I just one thing that everybody was on Twitter saying Brighton will batter Man United. Like, let's just be honest. Man United were closer to the win. This game.
You.
I thought that Man United, every time they went forward 3-on-3, if they were clinical, they should have scored. Brighton didn't make good use of the positions, the good ones that they got into. And I'm so disappointed at Brighton and their attackers. Danny Welbeck was atrocious. So as Martial, to be honest, he was non-existent today. But both were non-existent. But Man United, at every single minute in this game, I'm not sure about you. You guys are Man United fans, but for me, I'm a neutral. I'm sitting there. I want a Manchester derby in the final, but I'm also like want the Brighton De Zerbi underdog story to go through. But I thought Man United every single minute could win it. Every time you win 3-on-3, 2-on-2, I'm like, okay, the quality is going to show now, and Rashford is going to pull something off. Anthony, so disappointed at Anthony today that he didn't make use of these great positions. Like he had like 3-4 times. Dude, you can do better than this. You are more talented than this lame non-conviction shot. Just do better. And I thought that his coach was disappointed as well at him in the offensive third. But the game itself, it shows that Man United, you don't have to have a superstar. You can just see out games. You can win games, see out games as a collective. As you said, Terry, Casemiro wasn't great, but he did the job. Everybody from Man United did just okay for you to see out to go to the penalties. It was 50-50 game. But the game itself, Man United were a better team. having ball position does not mean you had a better game. I thought Man United were closer to the win, and anybody that says otherwise, you just want to say that because you see 70% ball position. That's it.
It's just hate. It's pure
No,
hate.
it's not hate. It's just people look at the ball position and think, yes, the team that had the ball were the better team, but most of the ball were with.
It was between Dunk and Webster.
And Webster.
That's it. See, we just said at the same time. We saw the same game. There you go.
Yeah.
It's just hate, bro. I think it's just hate.
It's not
hate.
No,
because it's coming from rivals. From you, I understand you're like a neutral, so it's easy for you to say that. From the rivals, it's just pure hate. And I just wanted to add another thing because you said Wan-Bissaka had an amazing game, honestly. I think it was him, Luke Shaw, and Lindelof. Every time that defense between Luis Dunk and Webster had no passing options in the midfield and tried to go for one of the attackers, you always saw Shaw and Lindelof with the step right away. They were always on their tail. Either they get the ball or they're just right there behind them where they have to pass it back and then they go back to position. If we had Maguire, that would have never happened. He would have been turned over a couple times already. So it's between those three for me that were man of the matches because, as I said, we didn't attack that well, but we barely
I don't
conceded
know why
any chance.
you guys are talking about Maguire. He should be gone in the summer.
No,
he has been terrible. Most of the games he played, every time he comes under pressure, he collapses. And to be honest, I don't understand this Maguire. He shouldn't play. And Ten Hag, I think, in my opinion, he is playing him to increase his value because if he doesn't play, you're not going to get any money for him.
But Mo, we didn't have Shaw last game, and that's what I tried to explain. When people told me we're going to get turned over today, I said Maguire is suspended. This team is completely different than what happened in Sevilla. If it's the same exact team, I would be deluded to say, well, it's the same exact 11. We're going to go in and we are going to batter Brighton. I am not deluded. I just explained the difference between our defense. When you have a natural left-footed center back, whether it's Lisandro or whether you have Luke Shaw who covers in because Luke Shaw's been covering in whenever Lisandro was out. So now for the remainder of the season, I said this is going to happen. Whenever Luke Shaw is back, our season is going to be back on track. I didn't know how long it was going to be. It only took him a week. And here we go. A week later, we did not get turned over. We did not lose 6-0. It wasn't all the odds for Brighton, like everyone said.
I hear you on that. Spicy with us. What you saying, bro?
No, I'm good, man. I'm just happy that we actually through to the final to get there, man. You guys, man, you know, it was hard for me because I'm with you guys. Staffy, I'm guilty because I went into this game thinking, okay, I don't feel like Manchester United can win today because of that performance against Seville. But at the same time, you know, I'm happy because we've won. We went through. It was a tough game for Manchester United at times, especially in periods. Brighton themselves, yeah, they dominated possession, but they never got the opportunity. They was never clinical. We, on the other hand, I saw that Manchester United, as we go to extra time, maybe we can win. Because we was performing, we was improving slightly better in the extra time. It was probably the better team, in my opinion. Penalties-wise, we all knew that David De Gea wasn't going to save the jack shit. We were just hoping that Brighton themselves will miss it. And Solly March done exactly what he did. Right now, he's marching on. I'm happy, man, because I saw Luke Shaw today. Luke Shaw, sensational in defense as a centre-back. You know, we may have to consider him playing in that position when Maguire gets sold. Because today, he was extremely solid. He was pressing as well. He did similar things that you will get from Martinez's performances, stepping in out of line as well, charging with the ball going forward.
There was moments he was in the midfield and cast stepped back to play, and I was just like, beautiful, because he can recover. That's why he was there. But sorry, just
and Lindelof, he stepped out a lot. I loved it when Lindelof stepped out. Both of them, whenever they stepped out and Casemiro dropped for them, it was beautiful.
Here's one thing I wanted to ask you guys. I have to go in a bit, but just one thing I wanted to talk about and ask you guys. It's a point that it was raised. I think one of the commentators here in the US said it, that this performance from Man United is not the way Ten Hag wants to play football, and this is not how he wants to go forward, like defensively, because he beat other teams with like being defensive. Like I think Arsenal in the first game in the season, the big teams he plays defensively, but that's not the way he wants to go.
I agree.
And is that only because he doesn't have all his players? Because it looks like he's Anthony, Casemiro.
Partly. I would say this, right? Even Casemiro, Casemiro wasn't his first choice. I'm not slagging the signing off. I'm not saying I'm not happy he's here. He wanted Frankie de Jong. He definitely wants to improve on the goalkeeper. Now, people are saying, why is he getting a new deal? because David De Gea showed today that he will save you points as well. There's no point De Gea leaving and putting all the pressure on a new goalkeeper. I think what you do is what we're doing is perfect. You lower the salary of De Gea, you bring in a new goalkeeper, and then kind of fight it out. I think it will take the new goalie will win, but you take that pressure off of the new goalkeeper from having to step up. But I think you look at this Man United team that started today. I'm going to look at the team that started again as an example. And I'm going to give you my view on this, Mo. Just a starting lineup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 or 8 of those players, 6 or 7 maximum, will not be here in 2 years' time.
That's a big turnaround. That's a big turnover, yeah.
But equally, go back to the first season of Klopp, go back to the first season of Pep, and go look at their starting lineups and look at how many of those players survived past 2 or 3 years. Quite a few of Pep's first signings didn't last more than a year to 18 months.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to over-assess what Ten Hag's doing more than we assessed Pep or Klopp, who have been the best 2 managers in the Premier League post Sir Alex Ferguson, in my opinion. They all took time. And I look at our team that finished the game. I look at it and think, I don't think Sancho will be here, unfortunately. Weghorst, Fred. Excuse me, I've got a bad cold still. Fred and Lindelof are backup players. I'm not even sure if Malacia is going to last.
Sabitzer is not going to be there.
Yeah, Sabitzer may not be here. There's on the end of the game, maybe 2/3 of that team won't even be here in 2 years' time. So when people say we're not playing Ten Hag's way, that's why I'm so impressed. He's adjusting how he plays to get the best out of his squad. He's reached 2 major finals, won a trophy. We're likely to get top 4. He's 10 months into the rebuild that came at the end of a season that was our worst in 40 years, and after 10 years of decay. He has done the only Man United manager in history that's had a harder job than Erik ten Hag was Fergie when he first took over, because you're talking 27 years of absolute
disarray. It was
disarray and craziness.
Okay.
Erik ten Hag is overachieving. He is over-delivering based on the overall squad depth. When everybody's fully fit and his main best 11 are available, we'll dominate the ball against most teams, but that team still isn't ready yet. And you saw today with De Gea, we can't play out from the back to build up that possession and build up that pressure. There's a stat that came up 60 minutes in. I think Sanchez and De Gea had the same amount of completed passes, but most of David De Gea's passes went into the opponent's box. None of Sanchez's went into the opponent's box. All his passing was out from the back. That's how they build that pressure up. So for me, I just look at it from a perspective of it's the truth, what that commentator said. But our style of football will evolve just as, and Gooners don't like the comparisons, but look how Arsenal were first playing under
Arteta.
Compared to now.
Yep.
There was glimpses. You can go back and see loads of good goals they scored, but now they're doing it for 90 minutes. Man United have moments in games where we play Ten Hag's brand, and I think as the squad slowly gets better over the next 2 or 3 windows, the team will just change. I'm not even worried about it. It's something we're going to buy rather than something that we have to worry about developing out of individuals that are not good enough for me.
Terry, we should also be
Thank
happy.
you, Terry.
I was going to say, you should also be happy that you have a manager that can win in more than one style.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you something, Arsenal fans recently have been a little bit angry at Arteta with his changes, where they feel these last 3 games where they didn't win. The subs were not right, not starting Trossard, this and that. We have Ten Hag now. There's so many games that I can tell you where he did not play the way that he wants. We weren't comfortable in the game, but he found a way to maybe put a different 11 or make changes within the game that won us the game. Like today, I mean, today we didn't win the game inside the 90 minutes, but if you don't make that Fred change, we probably lose. Only when Fred came on, we started winning the ball a little bit more in their half. It was mainly us winning the ball in our half and not being able to build. So that's a change that I could look at, be like, all right, we didn't play our style, but this guy was able to change the game with one substitution. Now, granted, it's never gonna happen again because today's circumstances were different. You're not playing Brighton every game again, but it's just it makes me happy to know that if Plan A doesn't work, we could go to Plan B, Plan C, Plan D. We can work it out. So it's, if anything, it's a compliment more than it's like,
on that, like, I'm a bit like, as you know, I'm a businessman. Terry, you know me fairly well. Like, I don't care how we win at this stage. I just fucking want results. Like, I truly don't care, and I mean that. We're at the business end of the year. We're not. This isn't. We're not trying to see is there a system pattern. Like, we just need to get through these last few weeks because we're seeing the injuries. We're seeing it all build up on us, and that fact that we have a manager who has lost his spine essentially for multiple games, and he's still pulling out results where he needs to. That's all I care about. Results at this stage is all we need. Get into the top four. We've gotten to a second final. Like, I'm not one of those people. Like, listen, I agree with the term that expectations can change. They can and they will. My only expectation I had was that we make it to this final because, like, Staffy, I never thought Brighton was going to beat us. So that would have been disappointing for us. You get to the final. We won a trophy, finish top four. That's my new expectations for the team, and I'm happy with it. Those are the results. And one thing I just wanted to, because you get to talk to trolls, and I like to talk to trolls a bit too. Somebody's like, "Oh, this American Canadian idiot, look at him, that only shows up when we win." Sorry, homie. Terry doesn't pay my mortgage or offer to pay my mortgage ever, and I wish he would sometimes because then I would take on the challenge and I would be here.
Cam, do you know, it's Cam. If honestly, I wish I had the money. Do you know what I'd do? I genuinely mean this. If I won the Euro Millions next week, it's a big lottery over here. All my regular panelists, I literally would give you all a big lump sum of cash. All here to say thank you.
Genuinely, I don't need it.
I would do it. I would do it. I know you're good. I'm not going to say what you do. I know what this man does. Man is good. Do you know what I mean? He dyes that little bit grey on his hair. He's one of them, man. That's what I'm saying. I'm only joking. I can't talk about cosmetic surgery on that. I did have a little trim today. But I hear what you're saying there 100%. Just some response. I tweeted something about 10 minutes ago, right? And I turned around and said that what I said on here, two finals, one trophy, massively overachieved, 10 months into his rebuild. And people are like, have you seen your squad? How much it's worth? How much your club spent in the last decade? How can it ever be called overachieving? This is why I know rivals are rattled. Show me, again, if anyone saying this can show me where they predicted us winning trophies, getting to finals and being in the top four this year, I will delete my tweets and not put it out there. Nobody said we would. Therefore, by definition, it is an overachievement. And how I know rivals are rattled by Ten Hag and why I know we're moving in the right direction is how he's the only manager in the top, out of the top 6 managers, whose spending before him is being added to the valuation of his squad. Nobody talks about the £1 billion spent before Pep arrived. Nobody talks about the hundreds of millions spent before Klopp arrived. No one's doing it. No one's talking about the hundreds of millions that Wenger and Unai Emery spent in the build-up to Arteta coming in. It's only Erik Ten Hag, and that is how you know Man United are overachieving. It's how you know Man United are ahead of schedule, because rivals are panicked. But not all, but anyone denying this isn't an overachievement is lying to themselves and showing a low digital IQ, like TikTokers. That's what they're doing, and they're lying to themselves. And a lot of trolls in the comments, I can see, are rattled by it. 110%. It's ahead of schedule. This is it. It is ahead of schedule. If you predicted us not making top 4, we've overachieved. If you said we wouldn't win a trophy, we've overachieved. The same as if you say we should win something and we fail, that's failure. I can own both. But you're not going to get me sitting here as a United fan owning failure and owning it when we bottle it, but then not calling it an overachievement when we achieve above and beyond your expectations. Come on now. Have some damn backbone out there. We've got a rival with us as well. Man like Don turned up. Thanks. One rival turned up today. Thank you, Donny.
No stress, bro. No stress, man.
Did you watch the game? What did you make of it, bro?
Yeah. No, I watched the game. I definitely watched the game. I think it could have gone either way. One thing that I would say killed Brighton today was the fact that they didn't have a clinical striker. I think Welbeck had a poor game. When I've looked at the stats, I think Brighton had about 60% possession. I know possession isn't everything, but one thing I noticed is that they were playing it through the midfield because Casemiro was quite poor today. Casado had an amazing game. You had McAllister picking out quite a few passes there as well. But just in the final third, they just didn't have anyone to finish their dinner. And I'm not saying that they were all over you all game, because it was a game of ping pong. There's a decision where Anthony could have played it to Bruno at one point as well. Bruno was literally right behind him.
The overlap.
The overlap there, he could have done that. But again, he's quite young. That is going to come with age and better coaching. Ten Hag is a good coach, so that will come. So I'm not going to say that Brighton battered you because they didn't, but I think if you play like that against Man City, they'll do 2, 3, 4 against you guys, because Brighton today, they just weren't clinical. They just didn't really have a target man, which is ironic because they had Welbeck, who tends to be a target man, and obviously he scored against us the other day, but who isn't scoring against Chelsea at the moment. But yeah, that's one thing I would say. Like, you know, looking at the Man City game, it will be tough, because I think if Haaland gets some of those chances today, he buries them. So yeah, that's my take on it. I just think it could have gone either way, but Brighton, I think they definitely missed Evan Ferguson today.
Did your shirt say Toronto?
Yeah, Toronto, man. Mitchell and Sims.
Respect.
I'm anything Ottawa based. See, I don't have basketball. Is that basketball? I assume.
I've got no idea, man. Mitchell and Ness. I just saw it. I liked it. I bought it.
It's a hat company. It's just a.
Oh yeah, hat company. I thought it was a player that plays for the Toronto
Raptors.
basketball team. I ain't got no idea. Man, don't know.
Toronto basketball.
There we go.
I like Mitchell and Ness.
What I should do to sound cool? I should just buy like an NBA game, like 2K or whatever it's called, and play it for like a few weeks, learn the players' names, and then just talk like I know. That's what a lot of people do with football. You know, they buy Football Manager and then suddenly pretend, oh, these wonder kids that are coming through. I'm like, yeah, I can Google 2023 wonder kids on FM as well, bro. It's easy. There's a question coming through. And by the way, Abdul, if you're watching, Abdul's tweeted this about the overachieving. He said, no, he hasn't. He hasn't overachieved based on money spent. He hasn't overachieved based on your club's history. He hasn't overachieved based on the standards of the biggest club, by the way, which you're not. He's overachieved based on Egal and co. predicting you guys would underachieve. But Abdul, you predicted we would underachieve. If you can show me your preseason predictions that we would achieve what we're achieving now, singular season we're talking. We're not saying Man United are overachieving. We're saying Ten Hag year one is overachieving. The rattled nature is crazy. But I wanted to
just on that point. Yeah, go on. Yeah, just on that point. It's mad because I've been saying it to a lot of Chelsea fans recently. Like, we've got a lot of good players on paper, but football's not played on paper. Man United had a lot of these players last season, right? Who we looked at and thought, right, how can Man United be in this position? But you had Oli as a coach. Ten Hag has come in there, and you've got to give this guy credit for what he's done, because without Ten Hag, and if you kept Oli, it would have been the same mess. So anyone that's saying that's just been a bit disingenuous to me, because as much as Man United had good players on paper, someone had to come in there and actually fix that. And it's similar, same sort of thing as Chelsea. Like, if you look at our team on paper, it's an amazing team, but we just haven't had any coaching to go with it. So I would just ignore that.
110%, and I stand by it. We're going to go to some other super chats in a minute, but there was a question put through earlier. Who's having the better season, Arteta or Erik Ten Hag?
I think Ten Hag, my opinion, being as a Manchester United fan. You know why I say that? Because if you look at Arsenal's season so far, you look at Arsenal, they got knocked out the first round in the FA Cup, knocked out so early in the Carabao Cup. We advanced further than them in the Europa League. The only thing that Arsenal are doing and outdoing Manchester United is the league right now. And so far, Ten Hag has won a trophy and could win a second trophy. And if you look at it now, if Arsenal was to finish this season not winning the league and finishing second, and Manchester United win, or stop Man City from winning the treble and win that FA Cup with 2 trophies and finishing third in the league, I'll tell you now, Ten Hag has had a better season and Manchester United have had a better season. Right now, Ten Hag is enjoying what he's doing right now, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys can think, but that's my opinion.
With the obstacles that he's facing,
we need the FA Cup.
Yeah,
I don't even think we need it.
I would love it. I would love it. But with the obstacles that he faced this year, people would just want to forget everything that happened. You know, the whole Ronaldo situation, you know, coming into a team. People forget that this team last year finished. This is the like what 90% of these players were a part of the team that was the worst worst Manchester United side in the Premier League history. And this guy came in, added 3 main players, 3 only. Malacia doesn't even count. He added Casemiro, Anthony, who you are telling me every day that he's overrated. Okay, so we have an overrated right winger. We have a midget playing in center back. Okay, that you told me he's a midget and he's not good enough. Yeah, I don't think he is. I'm just saying what they said. And this guy's taking us to 3rd place. Didn't even have a squad overhaul like Chelsea did. Okay, didn't have 3 years to change his team like Arsenal did. Okay, doesn't have 7 years of experience and chemistry with his team like Klopp has at Liverpool. Okay, so this guy came in with these circumstances that you guys told us, and he's third in the league, fourth today because Newcastle won, but you know what I mean, top four. Took us to 2 cup finals and got eliminated from the Europa League in a late stage because we know the injuries that we suffered. So it wasn't even us like being 100%. And you want to tell me that he's not having a better year and he's not overachieving? Like, shut up, bro. You don't even know what you're talking about. You're just talking to talk.
For me, do you know what it is? Listen, when you're being in a title race is massive. It is, and Arsenal have improved exponentially this year. Their improvement's great, taking nothing away from them. I want to wait until the end of the season until I give a definitive answer. And it isn't because I'm sitting on the fence or because I'm scared of sleeping on the sofa or any of the things that get labeled at me at all. Nothing to do with it. It's based on how both teams end the season. If Arsenal keep dropping points the way they're dropping points, and Man United subsequently close the gap on them to 5-6 points, they finish second, we finish third, 5 points difference, and we win the League Cup. And we pull off a miraculous win in the final against Man City, again, based on the early prediction from rivals that we're going to get battered. If we win those 2 trophies and finish 5 points behind, 6 points behind Arsenal, undoubtedly we've had a better season because you judge it based on the complete body of work. If Arsenal go into the final day of the season and miss out on the league by 1 point or win the league, you still might find people siding with them because the hardest thing to win is the Premier League, as an example. But it's a great debate to have. But for me, Erik ten Hag's pushing it hard. Erik ten Hag's having an outstanding season. And I'm just happy that he's doing it. But if Arsenal don't fuck their ideas up and they keep dropping all these points, of course Ten Hag's going to end up with a better season than him. Because what is the real major difference between like third and second if they're very, very close to each other on points and somebody else has won a trophy or maybe 2? So, yeah, for me, was this person say Terry talking extremes now? Be real on it. Did I speak extremes there, guys?
Nope.
I don't know what they're
I don't know. I just thought I gave honest
the
opinion.
extreme people are probably saying is that you thinking if Arsenal, we become like 5 points between Arsenal or whatever. But it's a reality. It's not like, look at the trajectory right now for me.
Because being in a title race is one of these things. I look at it along the lines of, although we've won, this is why it's such a hard thing. I want the trophies. But if you're in a title race with this Man City team, you kind of, I just think because you're Arsenal and you know what they're going to spend in the summer, they're going to be there to challenge next year. We're not title challenging quality yet. It's a big thing to be title challenging quality, if that makes sense. Like you can get knocked out in cup competitions, but the true barometer from who best to worst is the league, right? So if they're pushing City right to the end, they've got a fight. They've got a dog in that fight. But if they don't, they keep falling away, and we close that gap on them, and we win a trophy or 2. There's no question of a doubt. It's Ten Hag. Cam Reed says, Terry, Terry, of your logic, we are overachieving then because we were not predicted to be in the top 4. Who's we? Arsenal were definitely overachieving this year. There's a few people have said, but don't you change your predictions halfway through a season? Yes, you do. But when you look at your overall season, have you overachieved based on what everybody expected you to do? Yes. And if everybody predicted Man United to come 8th and win nothing, and we come 3rd or 4th and win a trophy or 2, to no amount of mental gymnastics, no amount of semantics can change it from being an overachievement. Let's just Google it for a second, right? Just play devil's advocate. Overachievement, right? Overachieving. Sorry, I put overarching because I'm thick and can't read. All right. Overachieve meaning. It means do better than expected, achieve more than is standard or expected of you. So if just literally, I don't even know why I'm reading that out. We all knew what it meant. Like, we ain't dumb people here. It's crazy to me that people wouldn't call it an overachievement. Do better than expected is to overachieve. Did you expect us to win a trophy? No. Then it's an overachievement. You can't argue it. It's crazy. It's crazy to me that people are trying to play that down. Terry thinks he's smart. I don't think I'm smart. I think I'm reading a fact. I'm not clever. This isn't me thinking I'm clever. This is me literally reading the fact. Overachieving means to achieve more than was expected. None of you expected us to be here. How is it not overachieving? Define that for me. And I swear to God, the person that does it and shuts me up, I'll pay your mortgage for a year, bruv. A year. But the thing is, none of you can, because you can't rewrite the dictionary and change it. I know we do that in society nowadays, where we like to kind of recalibrate what words have meant for 100, 200, 500, 1,000 years. You can't change what the word overachieve means. You can't do it. Crazy to me. Sorry, I'm sorry to rant, but it's a madness. A super chat here. Sorry, boys. A frivolous appeal on Maguire ban, so FA add a game. All right, a frivolous appeal. Yeah, Maguire's got to go. You know what Saeed said after the game at the stadium? Man City, we're coming for you. I hope Saeed didn't say that. I've got a lot of time for Saeed and all content creators.
But that's Saeed, though. He's funny. He's meant to be funny. He's trying to be funny. That's his thing.
But the football gods are listening.
That's the same thing, right? Did Neeks do the same thing to Reed? Neeks done it when you played Seville. First leg.
Basically said that the Europa League is beneath certain players in the Man United team when we were 2-0 up.
Oh, that's dangerous.
That was the last good football game we played. That half was the last good half we played.
I know. This here says, I don't know how people can be so optimistic about our future when fundamentally we're run in the same way with the same recruitment team. Illogical. But the thing is, our recruitment team improved in the summer, and Sheikh Kazim's team were at the game today. The third bid's coming in. Stay relaxed. Man United still, in my personal opinion,
were they officially there? Because I heard about it.
Yeah, we're there.
I didn't know it. They were there. There was reports from the media, not him personally, because the cameras would have got it, but his representation was there. By the way, if you think rivals are melting down with us winning a semi-final today, if we get new owners, watch the carnage ensue.
Terry, I have a traditional wear that I'm gonna wear on the stream when we get bought up by Qataris. I can't wait for that.
I'm changing my name to speak at ruined price.
I already have the name, so I'm good. I'm just gonna
wait, just one thing, Terry. I know you said you want to wait till the end of the season to actually answer that question. I'm a bit like you as well, but what you've said now, you know how you said if Arsenal were to take Man City all the way, but do you believe they will? Because I'm looking at it completely different now. I do think that you guys have had a better season, and because you've won a trophy, and I don't see Arsenal pushing Man City all the way now. I think from here, it's going to be up and down. They might get a win here and there, but I think they're going to drop a lot more points. And if you do get new owners as well in the summer, ready for that transfer window, then at least you've got something to build off. Because at the moment, Ten Hag is working with the Glazers, who aren't going to give him everything that he needs. So as much as Arsenal, they've put themselves in a good position to build from the season that they've had. If you guys get new owners, you're going to be in a pretty much in a better position than what you'd have been with the Glazers. So for me, I honestly don't think Arsenal are going to pick it up any more than what we've seen. It's going to be a big task. So that's how I'm looking at it right now. I think Ten Hag, he has had the better season, because I just don't see Arsenal going all the way now. I just don't see it.
But if they do, there's nothing we can say, right? That's the thing. So I hear what you're saying, because I kind of am in the same band. I've actually been saying it for weeks to the homies in the group chat or whatever. I'm like, y'all gonna lose to City when you're not beating them. You're not beating them at the Etihad. And I've been saying it for weeks that I didn't think Arsenal could keep up, and I kept being proven wrong until recently. So I'm on the fence with it, because if Arsenal do pull off a win at the Etihad, then all of a sudden everything changes, because then they're back in the driving seat. And they cannot, in my opinion, if they win at the Etihad, you can't lose the league at that point. It reminds me of back in the day, and this is where I'm one of those people who have a hard time caring about, listen, City matching the treble. I mean, that it sucks, but it's just matching. It's not surpassing. They're not surpassing us. My problem with this whole Arsenal thing is that I remember the days where whoever won the Arsenal versus Man United game won the league. That's what I remember watching that game, being like, we lose this game, that's it. And I think it's going to be the same with City and Arsenal. Whoever wins that game, that's it. It's a wrap.
I hear you on that. Original base Annie here says March misses in April. May he recover in June. That's very clever. I can do that. I don't know how people are so optimistic about. Sorry, I've already read that one out. Terry, what's your net worth? Google says 1.7 million.
Does it?
I don't know how. I have no idea. I'm going to Google it myself. I don't know, because I'm obviously not going to say it on camera. Terry Fleur's net worth. net worth. But what's this one here saying? I found. See, this one's a little more accurate. Let me put this one up for you, right? Yeah. I don't know how accurate this is or where they get this information from. This one's the funniest. I'm gonna put. You guys just go off the screen for a second while I put it up. This is it here. Scroll down. Let's put it. That's at the $20 million. $20 million is what they reckon. Listen, trust me. I am not worth $20 million, but yeah, that one there says I'm worth $20 million. That's not true. I'm simply not worth $20 million. But there we go. Someone says debt. No, I mean, it ain't me. I don't write this stuff. I don't. You know what I mean? But no.
No wonder why you're giving out mortgages for every year.
If I was that rich, I would do things like that. I would do those kind of prizes. Like some of the big rich YouTubers should do stuff like that. Like do debates. Like they give away things. If your baby touches this pile of candy, we'll give you 10 grand. It's fun. Do debates, like a proper debate, and give away £1 million or something. Like, do you know how many people would tune in for that sort of stuff? It'd be crazy. Jerry's here with us to have his. What you saying, Jerry?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, bro. That's really noisy where you are, though.
Oh, sorry, it's my headphones. Can you hear me now?
That's better, bro. That's better. There we go. What do you want to say, bro?
Yeah, long time to. How are you, man? How are you?
I'm good. I've been seeing your dancing on Instagram, actually, bruv. This man is a serious dancer. Serious dancer.
Thanks, man. First thing I want to say is that Fred Ten Hag and the team, like, it was good. It was good performance, and at the same time, it was a bit depressed because, like, when it got to extra time, I was a bit skeptical that I would go put it off Erik because I know that when it comes to penalties, I know De Gea is not like De Gea is not with it when it comes to penalties, but overall everyone's been playing well this season. Like I'm surprised that we might get to the final without Martinez because Martinez is a probably big miss. Like because he's been one of our player of the season this year, and I'm surprised like we look at Ten Hag because literally like back last season that how depressed I was. Like when Ten Hag came in, my prediction was top 4 and a trophy. Like now, like this season, I got it wrong. Like now we're playing. Actually, we're in top 4 now, and we just won our first trophy in 6 years, and now we're about to win our second. Obviously, City on the City game that's coming in June. Is that right? 3rd of June on Saturday. That's gonna be like a very tough game. Like probably like that's the as tough a game that I've seen in my life, toughest finals I've seen. But I think we've got this because like I want to win it so badly because I still want to see Man City in trouble. Like I wasn't born Man City in trouble. Like, I want to see us win it so I can see that like because if I want us to win it for everyone, if everyone in the squad, like everyone in this team, that everyone that played the season has contributed. I want us to win it so that because I know Maguire's been off for this season and a couple of years, but I want him to have a good send off when he gets trophy. I want him to leave with a bigger smile on his face. I'm tired of seeing all our players getting leaving in the depressing way. I just want him to leave and have a bigger smile on his face, 2 trophies, and we can build on from there. Hopefully, the Qatar comes in, then we're back again. We can win goals, start trying for titles again when the Qatar comes in, and back Ten Hag properly because Ten Hag's been wonderful this season. I've never been this happy. I never had a manager like that in my life. Like 2 trophies in the first season. I've never seen that before. I'm so happy right now.
Yeah, you know what? Like I hear you. Like as much as I want Maguire gone, it'd be nice for us to end the season on a high. And they've done it right this year as well. The FA Cup final is after the end of the season, which is how it always should be. It should never be played the same weekend that Premier League football is going on. It's disrespectful to the trophy. So yeah, I hope that we can go out on a high. I hope that players like Maguire can go out on a high because if they win, we win. Does that make sense? Like I hope it goes that way around. Equally, I hope it's from the bench and we don't need him. I hope it's just from the bench and we don't need him.
I don't want to see him.
I've got a question for you
He's
guys.
undefeated from the bench. He's undefeated from the bench. Remember that, guys. So it's a good thing.
Don't forget Varane because don't forget Varane will be back by then because if Varane if Varane comes in, then probably I'll be more confident because I want to see Varane look short. If Lindelof carries on like that, then probably Varane will be in a bit or can come on in case if it gets extra time again. So probably
He's
Well,
injured for 6 weeks. It's not guaranteed that
it's not going to happen. He's not going to get.
Weeks.
But
Yeah, the finals is.
Ten Hag said in the interview that Varane maybe be back by
Yeah,
then.
maybe.
Maybe.
It would be his first game back too. So are you really going to play
his
your
first game? Yeah, if his first game now, I'll put a bench and then come on if needed.
that would be your best hope.
If it's between him and Maguire, I'm playing him. I don't even care. That's just going to get the decision has to come down to it.
Garnacho.
Yeah, Don, you
Garnacho will be back in.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, because obviously none of us want to see City win the three-peat, right? But especially Man United fans, you guys don't want to see it at all. But how do you guys feel now that you've actually got the opportunity to stop them from doing it? Do you feel a lot more nervous now, or do you feel the way you did before?
I think we've got a better chance of beating them in the final than Brighton do, because you saw today. I think one of the things that probably cost Brighton today was being slightly overawed about being at Wembley, bigger pitch, the occasion, the pressure. If they play that way against us when we go to the Amex in a few weeks' time, they'll beat us. There's no doubt about it, they'll beat us. So I think again at Wembley, Man United have got more chance, in my opinion, of handling it against City. The derby's always an equalizer, whichever team is the best. We beat them once this year. They smashed us once. So yeah, we've got a great chance of stopping it. I mean, we can't stop the three-peat, but we can hopefully stop that treble.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah. Sorry.
I know what you meant, mate. Yeah. Hopefully we can stop that treble, because I don't see anybody in the Champions League beating them. And unless Arsenal pull off a miraculous win against them at the Etihad Wednesday night, make sure you're tuning into the terrace. It'll be hard. So yeah, for me, full steam ahead the final. I'm not even talking about confident or not confident. I'm just going to say, like, my prediction will have my confidence. I'll wait until towards the end of the season. We might be in good form by then. Yeah, we might turn this form around. We feel different, but yeah, I'm hopeful. Hopefully, we can stop it.
Our only chance for me, and I'll be honest, that I think we can beat them is if they're in the Champions League final. That's the only, because like it's going to be 7 days apart, and their minds are going to be on that Champions League final. The selection, we know Pep gets in his own head when he starts trying to rotate and do weird things. I'm not under the illusion that we should be winning that game. But I've been saying it for weeks that it's up to us. Like when we talk about stopping the treble, it is now up to us. So like when we come out of the season, and if anybody's like, oh, well, Man City got the treble, well, yeah, they beat us to do it. And it's like, that's where it's kind of fair play. I'm very much in sports. There's dynasties, there's ebbs and flows. I've always been, and again, I don't live in Manchester, so I don't have the same hate for Manchester City like everybody like who lives there does. And I get it. It's an internal thing globally. Like it's very hard for a Canadian to care about Man City as much as I would care about other teams, just because they were nothing for so long. But I have the utmost respect for a manager like Pep, because what he's done outside of the bullshit with the spending and all that and the corruption, but as a manager, he's actually just really good. Like I couldn't hate on him as a manager. I can't hate on KDB as a player. And then now you have Haaland, who is crushing everybody's records. It's kind of like there's a point where fair play, like they're just that good. So if we stop them, oh hell, man, I would be so happy. But I only think the only way we have a chance is if their eyes are on that Champions League final and they're not paying attention to what's in front of them when they face us.
It just also depends on our form, like Terry said, because 6 weeks from now, you don't know what kind of football we're going to be playing. You don't know if we're going to be better or worse. You don't know if we're going to have more injuries or less. Also for City, you don't know if they're going to pick up any injuries along the way. I think that they only have Ake right now out since like the last game he did his hamstring. So you don't know what form they're going in. Right now, they're cooking everyone. If we would play them tomorrow, I would have zero confidence. Like, let's be honest. But 6 weeks is very early to say anything about your prediction. But the one point that you guys made that I agree on, at least I'm just happy that now it's in our hands. I said it on the City Metro Action yesterday. I'm just happy that now it's in our hands to stop it, because I've been so sick of, like, for all these years now, the last 5 years, always having to rely on other people to eliminate them from the Champions League or Liverpool to beat them in the league, blah, blah, blah. I'm sick of that, I want it to be in our hands. If we win, we win. If we lose, you know what? It's on us, but that's the main thing, to have it in your hand.
Yeah, 110%. I'm loving how many people are triggered by my tweet that said they overachieved. Now what they're doing is this narrative, but you're not overachieving based on the size of your club. I'm so glad Liverpool fans have said that, because that means Klopp has underachieved. Winning one Premier League title in 7 years is not, by Liverpool's history, is not a great achievement. He's underachieved. So this is the thing. This is what rivals always do. To win every battle, they end up damaging their own club's legacy. So I will drop my agenda that we're not overachieving this season based on my club's history and what we spend. So based on the fact that Liverpool are in the top 5 spenders in English football history, based on what their greatest a team achieved, based on their history, Klopp's underachieved. That's how dumb it is. Think about it. Klopp hasn't underachieved. Dumb. There we go. Listen, boys, I want to say a big thank you to all of you for coming on. My viewers are amazing, even if you disagree. Please do me a big, big favor and smash the like button before you leave, people. Congratulations to Manchester United today for making it to the FA Cup final, which will be the first ever Manchester derby in a cup final. So it's going to be epic. Until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again very, very soon.